Hello everybody and welcome to another very over-engineered mission in Kerbal Space Program. Some of you who have followed this channel for, well, the past 4 years may have remembered a mission called Egg Surprise Leviathan to Duna. And, well, I thought I took the opportunity, to remember the rover opportunity that died on Mars recently, to sort of revive that idea I had back then. But unfortunately, during the roll maneuver, the tanks of the first stage sort of just rolled off. And then everything rolled in a different direction, and this took a turn for the very, very worst. Hey, good start for a mission, right? Again! Okay, as is usual in my videos, nothing works without any problems in between. But we managed to get this thing launched and now had a beautiful stage separation. There we go. And now we're on our way out of the atmosphere with that giant fairing on top. Actually, 2 fairings, but only one of them is really giant. Or rather, gigantic. And yeah, I can already imagine some of the comments coming in what this might remind them of or look like. Anyhow, we are now out of the atmosphere. We're going to do the circularization burn, and as I already hinted at, this is going to be sent to Duna. Another stage separation going on over here. We are now on our main interplanetary transfer stage, which is also doing the circularization burn, and boom! We already see parts of the payload. And this is quite a busy assembly. I'm going to unpack that a little bit later, don't you worry. Alright, while we do our 3 transfer burns, yes, the engines are not as powerful enough that I can do it in one go. I had to do it in 3. Those of you who haven't heard yet, the Mars rover opportunity stopped working a few weeks ago. And that was quite a sad moment because the little rover chugged on for about 15 years and sent science back, even though it was only intended to be used for 90 days or something like that. Quite remarkable that it managed to survive so long. Speaking of survival, let's see if we've survived the re-entry into Duna's atmosphere, because I want to use the atmosphere of Duna to do an aerobraking maneuver, and the trajectories mod, as usual, is helping me with that. That looks like a nice circularization due to aerobraking, right? Well, problem is, those graphics can be misleading somewhat. Something that did work fine was that the gigantic fairing on top acted as a heat shield for the rest of the vehicle. So I was not too worried about the parts getting burned in the back. Look at Ike there in the background, beautiful. And yeah, the trajectory was calculated in real time again, while I was doing my thing. And yeah, I had to do it again, of course, but this time I overestimated or underestimated, whatever, I falsely estimated how to do this again. And this time we came way too short, and now we're doing, this little stunt. Yes, I know I've crashed, and now there are a lot of explosions inside the planet, curiously, so we managed to land in with such force that we are now way on our way to the core of Duna. But that's not what we intended to do with this mission now, is it? Again. 3rd time's the charm, right? Okay, so yeah, on my 3rd attempt, I managed to get a good circularization. I almost crashed again, but I managed to correct my trajectory with a little engine burn just to leave the orbit enough to make it stable. So yes, we are now in a stable orbit around Duna, and now it's time to get unpacking, not packing, unpacking rather. And this was a curious little thing. I decoupled the little spacecraft in the background, and unfortunately hit time acceleration at the same time for the reasons, and yeah, it just did that weird dance it did. Anyhow, these are small relays that I want to put around Ike. Why Ike, you may ask? Well, Ike is the moon of Duna, of course, and it has a lot less gravity, so it's easier to get back off of it and also onto it. Why would I want that? Well, there might be some nice resources down there that we could use to refuel anything in this little planetary system. So what I need is a small relay network around Ike, so I have communications and communicate with any automated or probe-controlled vehicle on the surface. And look at that! I mean, it almost looks like a crescent moon with laser beams heading towards Duna. That's one cool looking image. Anyhow, speaking of imaging, we want to image Ike's surface to find out where the resources are. So we cut away the percentages that are a little bit lower. And look at that. There is a big red spot that we can land on and mine resources. But I also want to see what's on Duna, so I'm sending this scanner back to Duna to do the same thing. And while it's doing that, I do some other separation stuff over here. What's this little thing, you might ask? Well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. At the moment, I just needed to dock at this docking assembly in the center, so that I can get rid of the aft section of the vehicle. Yes, we're going to use the drive section to send something to Ike. And keen eyes might have already realized what it might be, and here I almost crashed into my Minecraft. Yeah, keep aware of your 3D placement in space. Okay, we're impacting the drive section on Ike so we can get rid of it, and also create nuclear waste on a moon. Yay! But we're only going to send robots there, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Alright, the other vehicle, which is basically going to be a refinery and fuel tug, is now lifting its periapse around Ike so that we don't crash. And in the meantime, we can also do our maneuver with the relay, not relay, the scanner satellite. And now we're heading to Ike, as I mentioned. Alright, I was a bit aggressive with my initial orbit, so the descent to the surface was a bit hazardous, to say the least.
Again?
Yeah, it didn't help a lot that the landing zone was on the night side of Ike, and I was too impatient to wait for it to get back into the light. But in the end I managed to land on it due to a generous delta V margin on that lander craft or fuel tug or whatever you want to call it. So once we got that safely down to the surface, which we did here, we concluded the final orbit of our resource scanner, like this. And now we can also look at Duna, what's going on over there. Alright, you can see in the top left corner that the thing is working, and now we also have resources strewn across the surface of Duna. This is going to help us when we send something to the surface, which locations are more suited to land on. Speaking of landing, now that we've landed the refinery assembly, I also wanted to disassemble this a little bit. And what's this spoon-like or pancake or pan-like contraption, you may ask? Well, like other things in this video, I'm going to have to explain this a little bit later, because right now it's just a setup of something that will come later, so please bear with me and I hope you watch this till the end. Alright, now that that's working, let's get the refinery refining, because we want to fill, basically what we want to do is fill that orange tank up there. This is going to be our payload that is going to be sent back to the station in Duna's orbit. And speaking of, yes, this is the final reveal. We are going to send a massive rover to the surface of Duna. This thing, together with the descent module, weighs, I don't know, 90, 100 tons, something like that. So it's really heavy, really massive. and we're going to land it. Or attempt to land it. Will we manage to do that? You might imagine I've already done some sort of simulations about it. Okay, we're having a short look out of the cockpit. The crew is happy as can be. And now we're attacking the surface of Duna with the Duna Devourer. Yes, that's the name I gave that rover actually. Alright, parachutes are firing. The main thing I use these parachutes for is basically to get the orientation of the rover right, so it descends down vertically and also bleed off a lot of speed. But we really do need the propulsive landing modules, because Duna's atmosphere is not as thick as, let's say, Kerbin or Wraith, and especially not Eve. And therefore we're going to need our rockets to land safely. There we go! Nice! Okay, now to get rid of those things on the side and speed them up so they can fly away, and goodbye. It looks a bit like these things out of Tron, you know, that really old movie. Old for you guys, maybe. Alright, yeah, now we got that rover moving, we're on Duna's surface, we're exploring, we're doing our stuff, and we're as happy as can be about that. So this thing is about 17 meters wide, and even longer, I think 20 meters long or something like that. This was the maximum size I could fit, the maximum width I could fit into one of those 5-meter fairings. We, of course, got some solar panels going on to get some more power. And we also have this little observation deck over here, complete with science equipment and antenna. More on that a little bit later. And we also have some other things going on that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, the crewman, or one of the pilots, is now heading out for an inspection. The lower walkway and upper walkway appear to work fine. Crew compartments are in order. Let's head up that ladder to the second level. Yeah, you could have 4 pilots basically up there, as you can see. 2 of them would be upside down, but that was for optical reasons. Okay, heading to the observation deck, as you can see here, almost full science complement, and of course an antenna to send stuff wherever you want. Okay, heading back down, we have another science instrument, we have a lab, we have a lot of fuel cells to generate power, should we so desire. And then let's head back out to the back, where something you might have already noticed is parked. Yeah, this is a nice little rocket, you might say. And you would be right about that, and we're going to have a look at that as well later. There is so much going on in this video. I really don't know where to start and where to begin. Yeah, as usual, Kerbals fall down, hit their head, and are fine. Anyhow, we're heading to the back to get something out of the back. Yes, we have hidden another rover in there. This is basically a small excursion vehicle designed for getting science from places where you cannot reach them with the larger rover, or to just have a joyride and enjoy the scenery, complete with suicide doors, by the way. Alright, we're heading out. We have 2 small solar panels to regenerate power, but of course... Whoa! Yeah, and I might have overdone it with the reaction wheels in there. Well, there's a reason for that. I'm going to show that to you. I'm sounding like a broken record here. Yeah, I'm going to show that to you a little bit later, but not as late as other stuff. So, yeah, but what you can do with those reaction wheels is, yeah, enjoy a little 2-wheel action. Anybody remember the TV series Knight Rider? Yeah. Totally like this. I'm not going to include the theme music in here, otherwise my video will get copyright striked or whatever. Okay, now parking that back in after we completed whatever assignment we want to complete with that little rover. And once the pilot got out, Yes, we could use the reaction wheels to lift it up and dock it together, but in this case I just used the ramp to push it up and the docking ports would engage. Okay, yeah, you've seen the antenna, you've seen that thing drive, so what else can we do about that? Well, oh, look at that, Ike in the background, clouds, Duna Rover, nice. Okay, I mentioned I'm going to show you what this little rocket-like thing here is all about. Well, if you're planning a long-term mission on Duna, then you would want to rotate your crew from time to time. So you can use this here to send 3 of your crew back up into space. And also, of course, some science. So this thing here can be used to transfer science to that station in orbit. There we go, goodbye Duna. Oh well, not really goodbye, we're still in orbit, but we're off of the surface. So this is a really small SSTO vehicle for Duna. It's just a single stage, just 2 engines, a capsule and some fuel tanks. Speaking of fuel tanks, we're going to dock with one. Well, not just the fuel tank, but also some crew accommodation and some other things. There we go, this is basically the station, or waypoint station, whatever you want to call it, in orbit around Duna. And what it does is it's going to refuel that little SSTO shuttle. And it's also going to be used for this thing here to embark or disembark or anyhow go away and fly to Kerbin, because this has enough Delta V to get 4 crew members and all the science you might have collected from Duna to Kerbin. And also back, of course, once you refuel it over there. Alright, speaking of refueling, we have refueled our little shuttle back on the station. And now with some finagling and experience and aiming and a lot of Delta V burning, we have now gone close to our initial point of exit, so to speak, and are now landed close to the rover. With barely 36 meters per second of Delta V left. So, how do you get this thing back onto the rover with just so little fuel left? Fortunately, the rover can move, of course. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that inclination to just tip it over there. There we go. And then hopefully land on that flat pad. Yeah, that's totally safe, right? Yeah. Hey NASA, I got a new concept for landing vehicles on Mars. that's totally convinced. Alright. Yeah. Okay. I'm using the RCS to get this thing upright and hopefully dock to the docking port and... Yeah! Oh, that's great. That's really great. It worked! It totally worked. And yeah, the rover, of course, like this little thing here, also has a refinery and drills and can refuel the tug, or not the tug, the shuttle. Speaking of tug, this is the tug. The tug is tugging the fuel back to that waypoint station in Duna's orbit. The orange tank, basically the entire content of the orange tank, is enough to refill that shuttle and also refill that interplanetary transfer taxi that we've talked about earlier. We've got a big docking port on the bottom over there, and then we're going to transfer some fuel, also some RCS fuel, because this thing is going to need it like a lot. And then we're heading back to Ike, of course, where this little pancake pan contraption that I've mentioned earlier will come into play. You know, landing on small, high objects is really hard, so I'm not going to attempt on the refinery because I don't want to destroy anything. So what I'm going to do is to dock this little shovel thing, so to speak, and then drive the tug over back to the refinery and dock with the docking port on the bottom. Using top and bottom docking ports also disables the need to align these things perfectly horizontally if you use horizontal docking ports, so this is, in my opinion, a lot easier to surface dock stuff. Alright, that's basically all I can tell you about this really complex, over-engineered, weird mission I put together in a memory of the beautiful and wonderful Opportunity rover. And yes, the Duna Devourer is going to stay on Duna and enjoy its days on the red sand. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Also, you can watch one of the 2 cool videos shown on the right. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.